Cheers gave us 11 unforgettable seasons where everybody knew your name, but what happened after last call is more shocking than anything that went down at that Boston bar. Let's see where the cast ended up in 2026. Where are you watching from? Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Number 1, we have Ted Danson, who played the smooth-talking, womanizing bartender Sam Malone from 1982 to 1993. Ted was 34 years old when he became Boston's most famous bartender, starring in all 275 episodes of the show. In 2026, Ted is 78 years old and somehow looks like he discovered the fountain of youth. Born December 29th, 1947, in San Diego, California. Ted's path to Cheers wasn't easy. He spent years doing commercials and soap operas while grinding away on shows like Somerset and The Doctors. When Cheers premiered in 1982, it actually tanked in the ratings and finished dead last. But critics loved it, and slowly audiences caught on. By 1986, Cheers was a top 10 juggernaut, and Ted Danson became a household name. The show made him rich beyond belief. Ted won 2 Emmy Awards for playing Sam Malone in 1990 and 1993, plus he took home 2 Golden Globes. The character of Sam, a recovering alcoholic and former Red Sox relief pitcher, became one of television's most beloved leading men. But Ted's personal life during Cheers was messy. He was married to producer Cassandra Coates from 1977, and they had 2 daughters together. Then in the early 1990s, Ted had a very public affair with Whoopi Goldberg. The scandal was everywhere. Their relationship imploded after Ted showed up in blackface at a Friars Club roast for Whoopi in 1993, causing massive controversy. Ted and Cassandra divorced that same year, and the split reportedly cost him $30 million. In 1995, Ted married actress Mary Steenburgen, and they've been together ever since. That is 31 years and counting. Mary brought 2 children from her previous marriage, and Ted became a devoted stepdad. He's been open about how he didn't emotionally mature until his 40s, right before meeting Mary. After Cheers ended in 1993, Ted kept working nonstop. He starred in the CBS sitcom Becker from 1998 to 2004, playing a cranky doctor. Then came CSI, Crime Scene Investigation, Damages, Curb Your Enthusiasm, Fargo, and the critically acclaimed The Good Place, alongside Kristen Bell. In 2024, he launched A Man on the Inside on Netflix, playing a retired professor who goes undercover in a retirement home. The show earned him Golden Globe and SAG nominations. In 2025, Ted received the Carol Burnett Award at the Golden Globes for Lifetime Achievement in Television. At 76, he told reporters he refuses to slow down. In 2024, Ted and Woody Harrelson launched a podcast called Where Everybody Knows Your Name. He's also the official spokesperson for Consumer Cellular. In 2026, he's set to host Extraordinary Origins, a History Channel series exploring world-changing inventions. Sam Malone was the ladies' man who never settled down, but Ted Danson found his happy ending and never stopped working. Number 2, we have Shelley Long, who played the snobbish, intellectual waitress Diane Chambers from 1982 to 1987. Shelley was 32 years old when she stepped into Cheers, appearing in 110 episodes before shocking everyone by walking away. In 2026, Shelley is 76 years old and has lived most of her life out of the spotlight. Born August 23, 1949, in Fort Wayne, Indiana. Shelley was an only child raised by Leland, a teacher, and Ividine, who was also a school teacher. She was a speech champion in high school and even won the National Forensic League's national championship in original oratory back in 1967. She eventually went to Northwestern University to study drama, but ended up leaving before she graduated so she could really pursue acting. Shelley joined the Second City Comedy Troupe and started doing commercials, and by 1975, she actually created, wrote, produced, and co-hosted a local NBC show called Sorting It Out, which won 3 regional Emmy Awards. By the time Cheers came calling in 1982, she had already appeared in films like Caveman and Night Shift. The chemistry between Diane and Sam became television gold, and their will-they-one-day romance really defined the show's first 5 seasons. Shelley won the Emmy for Outstanding Lead Actress in a Comedy Series in 1983 and took home 2 Golden Globe Awards, being nominated for 5 Emmys total during her time on the show. Then, in 1987, Shelley made a decision that stunned everyone when she just left. At the height of the show's popularity, she walked away to focus on her film career and her family, and that departure nearly killed the show. NBC panicked, but the writers brought in Kirstie Alley as Rebecca Howe, and Cheers survived for another 6 seasons. Shelley did return for the series finale in 1993, giving Diane and Sam one last poignant goodbye that left 80 million viewers in tears. Shelley's film career had mixed results, though. The Money Pit with Tom Hanks in 1986 was a hit. So was Outrageous Fortune with Bette Midler in 1987 and Troop Beverly Hills in 1989. The Brady Bunch movie in 1995 became a surprise hit, and she returned for the sequel in 1996. Her personal life took some hits, too. She married securities broker Bruce Tyson in 1981, and they had a daughter, Juliana, in 1985. After 23 years of marriage, Bruce divorced her in 2004, and Shelley admitted the split devastated her. She never remarried. Shelley made 3 guest appearances on Frasier as Diane, earning another Emmy nomination, and then from 2009 to 2018, she played Dee Dee Pritchett, the mother of Claire and Mitchell, on Modern Family. The role gave her a career resurgence and introduced her to a whole new generation. Since then, Shelley has mostly stayed out of Hollywood. She supported her daughter Juliana's decision to become an actress and encouraged her marriage to management consultant Ryan Kissick in 2015. Shelley herself lives quietly, occasionally taking small guest roles, but mostly enjoying life away from the cameras. Diane Chambers was the woman who almost tamed Sam Malone, but Shelley Long chose family and peace over fame, and she's never looked back. Number 3, we have Kirstie Alley, who played the neurotic, ambitious bar manager Rebecca Howe from 1987 to 1993. Kirstie was 36 years old when she stepped into the impossible job of replacing Shelley Long, appearing in 147 episodes and proving everyone wrong. Tragically, Kirstie passed away on December 5th, 2022, at age 71, and her death shocked Hollywood. Born January 12th, 1951, in Wichita, Kansas, Kirstie Louise Alley moved to Los Angeles in 1980 as an interior designer. She was already deeply involved in the Church of Scientology, having joined after seeking treatment for a cocaine addiction through its Narconon program. She credited Scientology with saving her life and eventually reached Operating Thetan Level 8, which is the highest level in the religion. Her acting break came in 1982 when she played Savik, Spock's Vulcan protege in Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan. She followed that with roles in the miniseries North and South and the comedy Summer School with Mark Harmon in 1987. Then came the call that changed everything. When Shelley Long left Cheers in 1987, NBC panicked. The show's entire foundation was the Sam and Diane romance, so bringing in someone new felt like career suicide. But Kirstie took the risk. She joined in season 6 as Rebecca Howe, a tough, career-driven manager who clashed with Sam in completely different ways than Diane did. Critics and fans were skeptical at first, but Kirstie won them over with her brilliant comic timing and her vulnerability. In 1991, she won the Emmy for Outstanding Lead Actress in a Comedy Series and delivered one of the most memorable acceptance speeches in TV history. "I'd like to thank my husband, Parker, the man who has given me the big one for the last 8 years," she said, sparking gasps and laughter across the auditorium. She also won a Golden Globe that year. Kirstie was married to actor Parker Stevenson from 1983 to 1997. They adopted 2 children, William True and Lily Parker, who became the center of her world. The couple also shared 3 grandchildren, and Kirstie lovingly called herself Gammy in social media posts. Their divorce in 1997 was difficult, but Parker remained respectful and supportive. After Cheers ended in 1993, Kirstie starred in Look Who's Talking alongside John Travolta, which became a massive hit and spawned 2 sequels. She won her second Emmy in 1994 for the TV movie David's Mother. Then came Veronica's Closet from 1997 to 2000, where she played a lingerie company owner. The show was part of NBC's must-see TV lineup and earned her another Emmy nomination. But Kirstie's later career became defined by her public battles with weight and her outspoken, controversial personality. She appeared on Fat Actress in 2005, a Showtime series where she played a fictionalized version of herself dealing with Hollywood's obsession with weight. The show was raw and honest, drawing directly from her real-life frustrations. In 2011, she competed on Dancing with the Stars and finished as runner-up. She also appeared on Celebrity Big Brother in 2018, placing second again. In 2022, just months before her death, she competed on The Masked Singer as Baby Mammoth. Kirstie became politically active and controversial on social media, tweeting support for Donald Trump. She sparred with people online constantly, but she also delivered a deadpan humor that became legendary. Then, in late 2022, Kirstie was diagnosed with colon cancer. She kept it private, and according to her children, it was only recently discovered. She was receiving treatment at Moffitt Cancer Center in Tampa, Florida. But the cancer was aggressive. On December 5th, 2022, surrounded by her closest family at her home in Clearwater, Florida, Kirstie passed away. Her children released a heartbreaking statement saying, "We are sad to inform you that our incredible, fierce, and loving mother has passed away after a battle with cancer only recently discovered." She was surrounded by her closest family and fought with great strength. Ted Danson was on a plane when he heard the news. "Kirstie was truly brilliant," he told Deadline. "Her ability to play a woman on the verge of a nervous breakdown was both moving and hysterically funny. Rebecca Howe was fierce and funny, but Kirstie Alley was even fiercer. She lived boldly, loved deeply, and left a legacy that proved she could do the impossible, replace Shelley Long, and make it work." Number 4, we have Rhea Perlman, who played the sharp-tongued, sarcastic waitress Carla Tortelli from 1982 to 1993. Rhea was 33 years old when she started slinging insults and beers at Cheers, appearing in all 275 episodes and becoming the show's heart and soul. In 2026, Rhea is 78 years old and still going strong, though her personal life with Danny DeVito remains one of Hollywood's most unique relationships. Born March 31st, 1948, in Brooklyn, New York. Rhea Jo Perlman grew up in a Jewish family. She began acting in off Broadway productions in the early 1970s. Then, on January 17th, 1971, her life changed forever. She went to see a friend perform in a one-night-only play called The Shrinking Bride, and Danny DeVito was also in the cast. Rhea spotted him and knew immediately. "I had to meet him," she said in 2017. "I came on to him big time." 2 weeks later, they moved in together. 11 years after that, on January 28th, 1982, they got married. And just months later, Rhea landed the role that would define her career. Producers Glenn and Les Charles saw Rhea in a small play where she portrayed a tough character, so they offered her the role of Carla Tortelli, the wisecracking, man-hating barmaid on their new sitcom Cheers. The show struggled in its first season, finishing dead last in the ratings, but Rhea's performance was electric from day one. She brought ferocity, humor, and surprising vulnerability to Carla, a single mother raising a house full of kids while working at the bar. Rhea won 4 Emmy Awards for Outstanding Supporting Actress in a Comedy Series in 1984, 1985, 1986, and 1989. She was nominated for 10 Emmys total during her time on Cheers, and also received 6 Golden Globe nominations, as Carla became one of the most beloved sitcom characters in television history. During Cheers, Rhea and Danny worked together on the classic sitcom Taxi, where Rhea played Xena, the sweet girlfriend of Danny's character Louis De Palma. They also co-founded Jersey Films, a production company that produced Pulp Fiction, Aaron Brockovich, Garden State, and Freedom Writers. Hollywood power couple doesn't even begin to cover it. Rhea and Danny had 3 children together. Lucy DeVito was born in 1983, Grace in 1985, and their son Jacob in 1987. The couple raised their kids celebrating both Jewish and Catholic holidays. In 1996, Rhea and Danny starred together in Matilda, playing the awful parents of the brilliant young girl, and it became a family classic. Then, in October 2012, after 30 years of marriage, Rhea and Danny separated. The news shocked everyone, but in March 2013, reports surfaced that they'd reconciled. Then, in March 2017, they separated again, this time for good. But here's the twist. They never divorced. "Danny and I, we are still married," Rhea confessed on Julia Louis-Dreyfus's podcast in 2023. "And we are still very good friends, and we see each other a lot. Our family is still the most important thing to both of us." Danny echoed this in 2019, telling people, "We're friends. we're happy. Everybody's happy. After Cheers ended, Rhea stayed busy. She appeared in numerous films, and from 2014 to 2017, she had a recurring role on The Mindy Project. Then in 2023, Rhea earned critical praise for playing Barbie creator Ruth Handler in Greta Gerwig's blockbuster film Barbie. At 75, she stole every scene she was in. Lucy DeVito followed in her parents' footsteps and became an actress. In July 2024, Lucy gave birth to her first son, Carmine, making Rhea a grandmother. Danny tearfully told The Talk, "I just burst into tears when Lucy told him she was pregnant." On March 31st, 2026, Rhea celebrated her 78th birthday surrounded by family. She and Danny continue to support each other at red carpet events, industry functions, and family gatherings. Their unconventional arrangement works because, as Rhea put it, family is everything. Everything. Carla Tortelli was tough on the outside, but soft on the inside. Rhea Perlman is exactly the same, and she's built a life and family that's entirely her own. Number 5, we have John Ratzenberger, who played the know-it-all mailman Cliff Clavin from 1982 to 1993. John was 35 years old when he walked into Cheers, spouting trivia, appearing in all 275 episodes and creating one of television's most lovable blowhards. In 2026, John is 79 years old and built an empire doing something nobody saw coming, and that's voice acting. Born April 6, 1947, in Bridgeport, Connecticut, John Dezo Ratzenberger came from humble beginnings. His father, Dezo, was a Texaco truck driver and World War II combat engineer who served in the Philippines, while his mother, Bertha, worked for Remington Arms. John attended St. Anne's School and Sacred Heart University in Fairfield before dropping out to find himself. In 1969, John worked as a heavy equipment operator at the Woodstock Festival, helping build the stage that would host one of music's most legendary events. 2 years later, in 1971, he moved to London for what was supposed to be a vacation, but he stayed for 10 years. In London, he was a house framer who stumbled into acting, forming a traveling comedy troupe called Sal's Meat Market with Ray Hassett. He landed small film roles, including Major Brender Lynn in Star Wars The Empire Strikes Back in 1980. Yes, John Ratzenberger was actually in Star Wars. When he returned to America in 1981, he auditioned for a new NBC sitcom called Cheers. The producers weren't interested in him for any of the written roles, but as John was leaving, he asked if they needed a bar know-it-all. He improvised the character of Cliff Clavin on the spot, playing a postal worker who always had an opinion about everything and was usually wrong. The producers loved it so much, they created the role just for him. Cheers ran for 11 seasons from 1982 to 1993, and John appeared in every single episode. He earned 2 Primetime Emmy nominations for the role, and Cliff became iconic, the guy at the bar who wouldn't shut up, but somehow you couldn't help loving. John reprised the role in the short-lived spin-off The Tortellas, an episode of Wings, and an episode of Frasier. When Cheers ended in 1993, John could have coasted on residuals. But in 1995, a little-known animation studio called Pixar approached him about voicing a piggy bank named Ham in their first feature film, Toy Story. John had never heard of Pixar, but he met with them anyway because he was blown away by their work ethic. Toy Story became a cultural phenomenon in 1995, launching Pixar into the stratosphere. John's voice work as Ham was perfect, being sarcastic, dry, and hilarious all at once. Pixar brought him back for A Bug's Life in 1998, this time as P.T. Flea, the circus ringmaster. Then came Monsters, Inc. in 2001 as the Abominable Snowman, Finding Nemo in 2003, The Incredibles in 2004 as the Underminer, Cars in 2006 as Mac the Truck. And it just kept going. For 25 years, John became Pixar's good luck charm. He voiced at least one character in every single Pixar film, from Toy Story in 1995 through onward in 2020. That's 22 consecutive films. Some were major roles and some were quick one-liners, but his voice was always there. Hunting for John's cameo became part of the Pixar experience for fans. According to box office tracking, he's the 4th highest grossing actor of all time when you include voice acting and cameos. Pixar films have earned over $15 billion worldwide, and John was in almost all of them. His favorite role of all? P.T. Flea from A Bug's Life. But in 2020, something changed. Soul, directed by Pete Docter, became the first Pixar film without John's voice. Then came Luca, Turning Red, Lightyear, and Elemental, all without John. The silence was deafening. Some speculated it was tied to the departure of John Lasseter, John's close friend and Pixar co-founder, who left the studio in 2018 amid misconduct allegations. John confirmed at Motor City Comic Con in May 2024 that he wasn't a fan of Pixar's new leadership, claiming they suck. In 2024, John returned to Pixar to reprise his role as Fritz in Inside Out 2, and he'll voice Ham again in Toy Story 5, set for release in 2026. But the days of John in every Pixar film appear to be over, and he's moved on to working with Lasseter at Skydance Animation. John married Georgia Steiny in 1984, and they had 2 children, a son, James John, born in 1987, and daughter Nina Catherine, born in 1989, before divorcing in 2004. He remarried Julie Blichfeld in November 2012. Beyond acting, John co-founded EcoPack Industries in 1989, creating SizzlePack, an environmentally friendly packaging material made from recycled paper. He sold the company in 1992. Cliff Clavin was a know-it-all who usually got things wrong, but John Ratzenberger got everything right, turning one sitcom role into a voice-acting empire worth billions. Number 6, we have George Wendt, who played the lovable, beer-drinking barfly Norm Peterson from 1982 to 1993. George was 33 years old when he walked into Cheers and claimed his bar stool, appearing in all 275 episodes and becoming the show's heart. Tragically, George passed away on May 20, 25, at age 76. And his death devastated everyone who knew him. Born October 17, 1948, in Chicago, Illinois, George Robert Wendt Jr. grew up on the South Side in the Beverly neighborhood. His father, George Sr., was a U.S. Navy officer and realtor, and his mother, Loretta Mary Howard, raised 9 children. George was one of 9 kids, 6 sisters, and 2 brothers. He was of Irish and German descent with deep Chicago roots on both sides. George attended Campion High School, a Jesuit boarding school in Prairie du Chien, Wisconsin, and later went to the University of Notre Dame until disaster struck. He was expelled after receiving a 0.00 GPA during the first semester of his junior year. He'd been living off campus without transportation during winter and simply couldn't make it to classes. That failure would have crushed most people, but George dusted himself off. He returned to Chicago and found the Second City in 1974. The legendary Improv Theater became his home, and he performed there from 1975 to 1980, learning comedy from the ground up. At Second City, he met actress Bernadette Burkett. They married in 1978 and had 3 children together. Bernadette later voiced Norm's off-screen wife, Vera, on Cheers, which was a perfect piece of casting that fans loved. Before Cheers, George grinded through small roles. He appeared in Somewhere in Time in 1980, then guest spots on Taxi, Soap, and MASH. Then came the call that changed everything. Cheers was casting for a new NBC sitcom set in a Boston bar, and George auditioned for Norm Peterson, a beer-loving accountant who practically lived at the bar. He got the part. When Cheers premiered in September 1982, it tanked in the ratings, dead last. But NBC believed in it, and slowly, audiences discovered it. George made Norm Peterson unforgettable. Nearly every episode, Norm would walk into the bar, and everyone would shout, "Norm!" He'd deliver a perfect one-liner as he headed to his stool, and the ritual became one of television's most beloved running gags. For his work on Cheers, George earned 6 consecutive Primetime Emmy nominations for Outstanding Supporting Actor in a comedy series from 1984 to 1989. He never won, but the nominations proved what fans already knew: he was brilliant. George reprised Norm in the short-lived spin-off The Tortellas, in an episode of Wings, and in an episode of Frasier. During Cheers, George became a regular on Saturday Night Live in the 1990s, drawing on his South Side Chicago roots to create Bill Swirsky and the Chicago Superfans sketches alongside Chris Farley, Mike Myers, and Robert Smigel. "Da Bears, Da Bulls, Coach Ditka." The sketches were legendary, and George's accent was authentic because he was the real deal, a Chicago kid through and through. George's nephew is Jason Sudeikis, the creator of Ted Lasso. Jason is the son of George's sister, Catherine, so comedy clearly ran in the family. After Cheers ended in 1993, George starred in his own CBS sitcom, The George Wendt Show, in 1995. He played a radio host car mechanic, but the show was canceled after 1 month. It was a brutal flop, yet George took it in stride and moved on. George's later career belonged to theater. In 28, he took over the role of Edna Turnblad in the Broadway production of Hairspray. In 2017, George played Willie Loman in Death of a Salesman at St. Jacob's Country Playhouse in Ontario, Canada. It was a towering performance. In January 2024, George reunited with most of the Cheers cast at the 75th Primetime Emmy Awards, presenting awards for Best Directing and Writing of a Comedy Series. It was a joyful reunion that reminded everyone how much Cheers meant. Then on May 2025, George died peacefully in his sleep at his home in Los Angeles. He was 76 years old. The cause of death was cardiac arrest. His family released a heartbreaking statement saying George was a doting family man, a well-loved friend, and a confidant to all of those lucky enough to have known him. He will be missed forever. The timing was eerie. George died exactly 32 years to the day after the Cheers series finale aired on May 20, 1993. The poetic symmetry broke fans' hearts. Ted Danson was devastated. "It is going to take me a long time to get used to this. I love you, Georgie," he said. John Ratzenberger wrote that for 11 years on Cheers, they shared a stage, a lot of laughs, and a front row seat to one of television's most beloved friendships. He called George a true craftsman who was humble, hilarious, and full of heart. Norm Peterson was the guy who never left the bar. George Wendt was the guy who never left our hearts. Number 7, we have Kelsey Grammer, who played the pompous psychiatrist Dr. Frasier Crane from 1984 to 1993. Kelsey was 29 years old when he stepped into Cheers for what was supposed to be 6 episodes, but he ended up appearing in 203 episodes total and creating television's most beloved intellectual snob. In 2026, Kelsey is 71 years old and has played Frasier Crane longer than any actor has played a single character in primetime television history. That is over 40 years and counting. Born February 21st, 1955, in Street Thomas, U.S. Virgin Islands. Alan Kelsey Grammer's life has been marked by unimaginable tragedy. His parents, Sally Kramer Grammer and Frank Allen Grammer Jr., divorced when he was 2 years old. Kelsey moved with his mother and younger sister Karen to New Jersey and later Florida, and that is when the tragedies began. In 1968, when Kelsey was just 13 years old, his father was fatally shot at his home in Street Thomas during racial violence following the assassination of Martin Luther King Jr. Kelsey lost his dad in the most brutal way imaginable. 7 years later, in 1975, his 18-year-old sister Karen was brutally raped and murdered in Colorado. The pain was unbearable. Then in 1980, Kelsey's 2 paternal half-siblings were killed in a scuba diving accident. By age 25, Kelsey had lost his father, his sister, and 2 half-siblings to violent, senseless deaths. In 2025, Kelsey published a memoir titled Karen, A Brother Remembers, where he finally opened up about his sister's death and his subsequent struggles with drugs and alcohol. The grief nearly destroyed him. Despite the trauma, Kelsey pursued acting and enrolled in Juilliard School in New York City, where he studied for 2 years before joining the Old Globe Theater Company in San Diego. He performed Shakespeare and George Bernard Shaw in regional theaters. On Broadway, he appeared in Macbeth in 1981 and Othello in 1982, alongside Christopher Plummer and James Earl Jones. Then, in 1984, his Juilliard classmate Mandy Patinkin recommended him to the casting director for Cheers. Kelsey auditioned for the role of Dr. Frasier Crane, a pompous psychiatrist who dated Diane Chambers. He was only supposed to appear for 6 episodes, but audiences loved him and producers kept him on as a regular. Frasier Crane became one of Cheers' most popular characters, and he stayed on the show until its finale in 1993. When Cheers ended in 1993, NBC didn't want to let Frasier go, so they offered Kelsey his own spinoff. Frasier premiered in September 1993, following Dr. Crane as he moved from Boston to Seattle to start a new life as a radio psychiatrist. The show was a phenomenon and ran for 11 seasons, airing 264 episodes and winning a staggering 37 Primetime Emmy Awards, the most of any comedy series in history. Kelsey personally won 4 Emmy Awards for playing Frasier, 1 on Cheers in 1994 and 3 on Frasier in 1994, 1995, and 1998. He also won a 5th Emmy for voicing Sideshow Bob on The Simpsons. Kelsey became the first American actor to be nominated for multiple Emmy Awards for portraying the same character on 3 different television shows: Cheers, Frasier, and Wings. He also won 3 Golden Globe Awards and a Tony Award in 2016 as a producer for The Color Purple. But Kelsey's personal life during this time was chaos because he struggled with cocaine and alcohol addiction. In January 1991, he was given an additional 2 years probation for violating his original probation through additional cocaine use. In September 1996, he crashed his Dodge Viper sports car while intoxicated and checked into the Betty Ford Center for 30 days. His Cheers and Frasier castmates held interventions, and writer Dan O'Shannon recalled he would ooze into the studio, his life all out of sorts. Jimmy would say, "Action," and he would snap into Frasier and expound in this very erudite dialogue and be pitch perfect. And Jimmy would yell, "Cut!" and he would ooze back into Kelsey, glazed over eyes, half asleep, going through whatever he was going through. Kelsey's been married 4 times and has 8 children and 1 grandchild. His first marriage to dance instructor Doreen Alderman lasted from 1982 to 1990. They have 1 daughter, actress Spencer Grammer, born October 9th, 1983. Through Spencer, Kelsey has 1 grandson, born October 10th, 2011. After his divorce, Kelsey had a daughter, Candace Greer Grammer, born February 15th, 1992, with hair and makeup stylist Barry Buckner. Kelsey married reality TV star Camille Donatacci in 1997. They had 2 children together, daughter Mason in 2001 and son Jude in 2004. The marriage fell apart publicly in 2010 during The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Their divorce was finalized in 2011 and cost Kelsey $30 million. 2 weeks after his divorce was finalized, Kelsey married British flight attendant Kate Walsh in February 2011. They have 3 children, daughter Faith, born in 2012, son Kelsey Gabriel, born in 2014, and daughter Auden, born in 2016. When Frasier ended in 2004, Kelsey kept working. He starred in the drama series Boss from 2011 to 2012, earning a Golden Globe Award. He appeared in X-Men: The Last Stand and X-Men: Days of Future Past as Dr. Hank McCoy, also known as Beast. For nearly 2 decades, fans begged for a Frasier revival, and in October 2023, the Frasier revival premiered on Paramount+. The show brought Frasier back to Boston after the death of his father Martin. The show was renewed for a 2nd season in February 2024, with the 2nd season premiering in September 2024. But on January 17th, 2025, Paramount Plus canceled Frasier. After 40 years of playing Frasier Crane, Kelsey's story ended abruptly without a proper finale. At 71, Kelsey Grammer has survived unimaginable loss, battled addiction, and built one of the most successful careers in television history. Dr. Frasier Crane was pompous and neurotic, but Kelsey Grammer is a survivor who turned tragedy into triumph. Number 8, we have Woody Harrelson, who played the sweet, dim-witted bartender Woody Boyd from 1985 to 1993. Woody was 23 years old when he joined Cheers in Season 4 as the replacement for Coach, appearing in 200 episodes and earning an Emmy Award. In 26, Woody is 64 years old and has transformed from a sitcom bartender into one of Hollywood's most respected actors with 3 Oscar nominations to his name. Born Woodrow Tracy Harrelson on July 23, 1961, in Midland, Texas, Woody's childhood was defined by darkness. His father, Charles Void Harrelson, was a convicted hitman, while his mother, Diane Lou Oswald, was a secretary who raised Woody and his 2 brothers, Jordan and Brett, in Lebanon, Ohio. When Woody was 7 years old, his father was sent to prison. In 1979, Charles Harrelson was convicted of murdering federal judge John H. Wood Jr. and received a life sentence. Charles died in the United States Penitentiary on March 15, 2007. Woody's family was poor and relied on his mother's wages, but Woody earned a scholarship to Hanover College in Indiana. In 1983, he graduated with a bachelor's degree in English and Theatrical Arts and immediately moved to New York City to pursue acting. His career started with bit parts, like becoming an understudy in the Neil Simon play Biloxi Blues. Then in 1985, Woody's big break came when he was cast as Woody Boyd, a sweet, naive bartender from Hanover, Indiana, on the NBC sitcom Cheers. The character was created to replace Coach, played by Nicholas Colasanto, who had passed away in February 1985. Woody joined Cheers in season 4 and stayed for the final 8 seasons until the show ended in 1993. He was an instant hit with viewers and critics alike. His performance earned him 5 Emmy nominations, and he won the Emmy Award for Outstanding Supporting Actor in a Comedy Series in 1989. Woody Boyd became one of the show's most beloved characters, innocent, good-hearted, and hilarious without even trying. While still on Cheers, Woody began his film career. His first movie was Wildcats in 1986, followed by small roles, and then his first starring role in White Men Can't Jump in 1992 alongside Wesley Snipes. The sports comedy was a massive hit and proved Woody could carry a film, but his career didn't fully explode until after Cheers ended in 1993. That year, he starred opposite Robert Redford and Demi Moore in the erotic drama Indecent Proposal, which earned over $265 million worldwide. Then came Natural Born Killers in 1994, directed by Oliver Stone. Woody played Mickey Knox, a violent serial killer, in a performance so dark and menacing it shocked audiences who only knew him as Sweet Woody Boyd. In 1996, Woody earned his first Academy Award nomination for Best Actor for playing controversial Hustler magazine founder Larry Flynt in The People vs. Larry Flynt. The performance was fearless, raw, and transformative. Woody's career skyrocketed after that. He appeared in The Thin Red Line in 1998, No Country for Old Men in 2007 with the Coen brothers, and Zombieland in 2009, which earned $102 million globally and spawned a 2019 sequel. In 2009, Woody earned his second Oscar nomination for Best Supporting Actor for The Messenger. Starting in 2012, Woody played Haymitch Abernathy in the Hunger Games franchise, reprising the role in all 4 films. In 2024, Woody starred in the first season of HBO's True Detective alongside Matthew McConaughey, delivering a career-defining performance. In 2017, Woody earned his 3rd Oscar nomination for Best Supporting Actor for playing the sheriff in 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. Woody's personal life has been unconventional. In 1985, he briefly married Nancy Simon, daughter of playwright Neil Simon, in a marriage that lasted less than a year. Then in 2008, he married Laura Louie, his former assistant. They have 3 daughters together, Denny, Zoe, and Makani. Woody has always been outspoken about his beliefs. He's a vocal environmentalist and hemp advocate, and he has also been politically active, protesting against wars and speaking openly about his past drug use. At 64, Woody Harrelson continues working nonstop. His career has spanned over 45 years, earning him 3 Oscar nominations, 7 Emmy nominations, and 1 Emmy win. Woody Boyd was the sweetest guy in the bar, but Woody Harrelson became one of the most versatile and fearless actors of his generation. Number 9, we have Bebe Neuwirth, who played the icy psychiatrist Dr. Lilith Sternin from 1986 to 1993. Bebe was 27 years old when she joined Cheers as Frasier Crane's love interest, appearing in 80 episodes and creating one of television's most unforgettable characters. In 2026, Bebe is 67 years old and has built a legendary career as a Broadway icon while continuing to captivate audiences on screen. Born Beatrice Jane Neuwirth on December 31st, 1958 in Princeton, New Jersey, Bebe grew up in a creative household. Her father, Lee Paul Neuwirth, was a mathematician, and her mother, Sydney Ann, was an artist. Bebe started taking ballet lessons at age 5, which was just 1 year after watching The Nutcracker with her mother, and she dreamed of becoming a professional ballerina. By her early teens, Bebe realized her ballet technique was a bit limited compared to professional standards. Then, at age 13, she saw the musical Pippin in Manhattan, and everything changed for her. She abandoned her ballerina dreams and set her sights on Broadway instead. After graduating from Princeton High School in 1976, Bebe attended the prestigious Juilliard School in New York City to study dance, but she left after only 1 year because she found the environment a bit stifling. In 1980, Bebe made her Broadway debut in A Chorus Line, playing the role of Sheila Bryant, and her performance was absolutely stunning. She followed that up with roles in Little Me in 1982 and Danson. Then in 1986, she starred as Nikki in the revival of Sweet Charity and won her first Tony Award for Best Featured Actress in a Musical. That same year, Bebe auditioned for Cheers and actually showed up with her arm in a sling after falling a week earlier. Despite the injury, she nailed the audition and was cast as Dr. Lilith Sternin, a cold, uptight psychiatrist who would become Frasier Crane's girlfriend and later his wife. Lilith was unlike any character on television because she had this dry, deadpan delivery, rarely smiled, and wore severe hairstyles and clothing. Her chemistry with Kelsey Grammer was electric, and the character became a fan favorite almost immediately. Bebe appeared in 80 episodes of Cheers from 1986 to 1993, and she won 2 Emmy Awards for Outstanding Supporting Actress in a Comedy Series in 1990 and 1991. When Cheers ended in 1993, she was offered a regular role on the spin-off Frasier, but she turned it down. She explained that after Cheers went off the air, she got a lot of offers, essentially asking her to play the same character, so she turned down a regular role on Frasier so she could go back to Broadway. Instead, Bebe made guest appearances on Frasier and reprised Lilith in 12 episodes between 1994 and 2003. Her appearances earned her an Emmy nomination for Outstanding Guest Actress in a Comedy Series in 1995. In 2023, Bebe returned once again as Lilith in the Frasier revival on Paramount+, delighting fans 30 years after the original series ended. But Broadway was always Bebe's first love, and in 1996 came the role that would define her stage career. Bebe was cast as Velma Kelly in the Broadway revival of Chicago, and her performance was breathtaking, sultry, sharp-witted, and technically flawless. Bebe won her second Tony Award for Best Actress in a Musical, along with the Drama Desk Award, Outer Critics Circle Award, and Drama League Distinguished Performance of the Year Award. The revival became a massive hit and is still running today, making it the longest-running American musical in Broadway history. In 2006, Bebe returned to Chicago, but this time playing Roxy Hart. In 2014, she came back yet again, this time playing matron Mama Morton. Bebe became the only performer in Broadway history to play all 3 leading female roles in a single production during separate runs. Bebe's Broadway career continued with Fosse from 1999 to 2001 and The Addams Family in 2010, where she originated the role of Morticia Addams opposite Nathan Lane. In 2024, she starred as Fräulein Schneider in the revival of Cabaret at the Kit Kat Club, earning another Tony nomination at age 65. Beyond Broadway, Bebe appeared in numerous films, including Jumanji in 1995 as Nora Shepherd and Jumanji: The Next Level in 2019. From 2014 to 2017, Bebe starred as Nadine Tolliver in the CBS political drama Madam Secretary. Bebe married Paul Dorman in 1984, but they divorced in 1991. In 2009, she married director Chris Calkins, and they've been together ever since. After undergoing 2 hip replacement surgeries, she established the Dancers Resource Program at the Actors Fund, which helps professional dancers with financial and physical needs. At 67, Bebe Neuwirth continues performing at the highest level. She's won 2 Tony Awards, 2 Emmy Awards, 2 Drama Desk Awards, and countless other accolades. Dr. Lilith Sternin was cold and brilliant, but Bebe Neuwirth is warm, talented, and one of the greatest triple threats Broadway has ever known. Number 10, we have Nicholas Colasanto, who played the lovable, dim-witted bartender, Coach Ernie Pantuso, from 1982 to 1985. Nicholas was 58 years old when he joined Cheers, appearing in 77 episodes and becoming the heart and soul of the show. Tragically, Nicholas passed away on February 12, 1985, at age 61, and his death devastated the cast and millions of fans who loved Coach. Born January 19, 1924, in Providence, Rhode Island, Nicholas Colasanto came from a working-class Italian-American family. His parents, Giuseppe Joseph Colasanto and Maria Mary Galfoni, were both first-generation Italian-Americans. Nicholas was one of 7 children who attended Central High School in Providence, but in 1943, he joined the United States Navy before graduating. Nicholas served in World War II as a coxswain and was honorably discharged in 1945. After college, Nicholas worked as a bookkeeper, and by 1951, he was settled into that profession. But then something changed. Nicholas saw Charles Boyer in The Red Gloves and Henry Fonda in the Broadway play Mr. Roberts, and as he later said, it was just like catching a virus. At age 28, Nicholas abandoned his accounting career and pursued acting. He applied to the American Academy of Dramatic Arts, but was rejected. Undeterred, he joined a small theater company in Phoenix, Arizona, then moved to New York. He acted in off-Broadway productions, including A Hatful of Rain and Across the Board Tomorrow Morning, with the latter earning him a Tony Award nomination. Nicholas moved to Hollywood in 1965 and became known primarily as a television director. He directed over 100 episodes of hit shows, including Bonanza, Columbo, Starsky and Hutch, and Hawaii Five-0. He also appeared in films like Alfred Hitchcock's Family Plot, John Huston's Fat City, and Martin Scorsese's Raging Bull, where he played a mafia chief. In 1982, Nicholas was preparing to retire when the role of Coach Ernie Pantuso was offered to him on Cheers. Coach was a former Boston Red Sox coach who had a warm heart but often struggled to make sense of conversations and drink orders at the bar. He was sweet, loyal, and hilarious without even trying. Nicholas brought a depth and warmth to Coach that made him irreplaceable. Ted Danson later said the show lost its heart and soul after Nicholas died. Coach was Sam Malone's father figure, Diane Chambers' dependable ally, and the emotional center of Cheers. Nicholas was a recovering alcoholic who had joined Alcoholics Anonymous in 1976, and he kept a photograph of the Apache warrior Geronimo in his dressing room as a good luck charm. By the third season of Cheers, Nicholas's health had seriously deteriorated. He was suffering from heart disease, and his castmates noticed his weight loss, but Nicholas kept the severity of his illness a secret. Co-star Ted Danson later said Nicholas had difficulty remembering his lines during production that season, so producers lit the underside of the bar where Nicholas had cue cards hidden out of sight. Nicholas filmed his last full episode, Cheerio Cheers, in late November 1984. Shortly after Christmas 1984, Nicholas was admitted to a local hospital with water in his lungs. When he was released in early February 1985, his doctor recommended he not return to work, but Nicholas returned anyway. On February 12, 1985, Nicholas Colasanto died of a heart attack at his home in Studio City, California. He was 61 years old. He had been sitting up in bed watching television when death came suddenly, and his body was found by a friend. Ted Danson was heartbroken. "As an actor, I'm going to miss Nick very much," he said. "As Sam Malone, I feel as if I've lost my dad. As Ted Danson, I loved him very much, and he will be missed a lot." On February 16, 1985, more than 175 family and friends attended a funeral mass at Holy Cross Church in Providence, Rhode Island. John Ratzenberger, who played Cliff Clavin, flew across the country to attend. Actor George Garrow eulogized Nicholas during the service, saying, "You done good, Coach. We love you." Nicholas was buried at St. Anne's Cemetery in Cranston, Rhode Island. He never married and had no children. On April 11, 1985, Nicholas's final episode aired 2 months after his death. On April 19, 1985, Nicholas was posthumously awarded Best Supporting Actor by viewers for Quality Television for his role as Coach. He had also been nominated for 3 Emmy Awards, including a posthumous nomination in 1985, though he never won. The show's creators decided not to recast Coach's role. Instead, Coach was replaced by Woody Boyd, played by Woody Harrelson. The cast memorialized Nicholas by hanging the photograph of Geronimo on the wall of the Cheers set near the piano. In the final moments of the series finale in 1993, 8 years after Nicholas's death, Ted Danson straightened the Geronimo photograph before turning out the lights for the last time. It was a subtle, heartbreaking tribute to the man they all loved. Coach Ernie Pantuso was the heart of Cheers. Nicholas Colasanto was a humble, talented man who gave television one of its most beloved characters before his life was cut tragically short. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe to our channel so you never miss out on more fascinating stories.